Christian persecution. China launches religious winter in bid to destroy Christianity. Christians in China face yet more restrictions. The Communist Party is attempting to silence the voices and movement of Christians throughout China. The restrictions begin next month, and any and all unauthorized religious activity will be suppressed, making house churches disband. The ruling Chinese Communist Party is officially atheist, with more than half of China's 1.4 billion people not associated with any religion or belief. One of the new rules says it will be an offense to organize citizens to attend religious training, conferences, and activities abroad, preaching, organizing religious activities, and establishing religious institutions or religious sites at schools, and providing religious services through the internet. In a bid for the new rules to be accepted, Xi Jinping's government claims some of the restrictions are in the interest of state security. There will also be limits on accepting teaching posts in foreign countries and organizing religious activities in unapproved religious sites, allowing the government to monitor state-controlled churches and stamp out any underground movements. There are 5 officially recognized religions. Oh man, this is so aggravating. Allowed in China. And they are Buddhism, Taoism, Islam, Catholicism, and Protestantism. But Christianity is not necessarily recognized, even though Catholicism and Protestantism are mentioned, thereby proving the purpose of separating church and state. There's a big reason that church and state are separate in America, and it should continue to be that way, even though they're not. The lines are crossed. It's not exactly clear. Let me continue. Please organize and pray for China, and the democratic attempt to bring about the new rules is overruled by the people. The world can attack the word all they want, but according to Scripture, the grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the word of our God shall stand forever. Now, that is what's going on in China, but I want to bring something to your attention. This is setting the precedent for the New World Order. As we have previously covered, the New World Order is rising through communism, though they're doing it through back doors, even though they're officially attaching communism to their agenda. China is an excellent example of the United Nations' new agenda, titled The New Global Human Order, adopted September 16, 2016. We covered that just recently, and in case you haven't seen it, you need to get to the website very soon so you can see what that's all about. Under the beginnings of a new world order, with China as a leading example, the movement of Christians will be monitored and house churches will be disbanded. Under the beginnings of the New World Order, or NWO, Christians will only be allowed to attend state-sanctioned churches and state-funded pastors, all of which house the doctrine of the state before God. The ideology is not new. It has been around for centuries, but somewhere along the line, Christians forgot a leg of the true fight ongoing throughout the world, the silencing of Christianity. At the beginning of the New World Order, it is entirely plausible to believe that the Holy Bible will not be considered state-sponsored, unless the text is modified to meet the state's requirements. Previous attempts can be seen in history, when King James authorized a single version of the Bible because it was a political and social necessity. King James issued over a dozen rules that the translators had to follow. King James disliked the Geneva Bible, which predated it by 51 years, the Bible used by the Puritans, because he believed that some of the commentaries in the margin notes did not show enough respect for kings. James's new translation was to have no commentary in the margins. King James favored the hierarchical structure of the Church of England and wanted the new translation to keep words that supported a bishop-led hierarchy. In keeping with James' preferred views on church government, he specified the old ecclesiastical words are to be kept, as the word church is not to be translated to congregation. King James also ruled that only his new Bible could be read in England's churches. The political motives of King James had a direct influence on the translation of the KJV. You can come read all of this here, these 14 rules. The best example of word changing or removal is in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. You've heard me mention this you haven't heard me mention it in the comments. You've seen me mention it in the comments. Let me show you. Geneva version, this has nothing to do with the KJV. It predates the KJV by 51 years. It's very important. It's not even but 5 words, but they are massive words. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors. Oops, forgot to mention that. It doesn't say that in the KJV, does it? The princes of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. Read that plainly. Can you see the difference there? There's a reason church and state have got to be separate. Let me reread it to you one more time, the Geneva version. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, the princes of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. Authorized King James Version. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Worldly governors. Now wait a minute. If that was included, that would change a lot of what that means. Even though you could draw that conclusion from the KJV, it's not clearly stated. In the Geneva version, where it's clearly stated, it's very evident. It's very evident. You can't misread that. No wonder King James wanted to remove that. Now that also being said, let's go back up to this here. He made sure that the words church replaced congregation. Imagine the impact that would have on today's world if that was the only way to read it. Because you wouldn't be looking at a building of a church, you'd be looking at a group of people called a congregation. It changes a lot. It changes a lot. Let's put it that way. Now that also being said, while Chinese Christians are being persecuted, America is turning to Satanism. The Satanic Temple brings after-school club to Portland Elementary School. Educating with Satan. Where is America going? In August, the Provisional Portland chapter of the National Organization of the Satanic Temple began their efforts to bring their after-school Satan Club. Around the same time, a Seattle chapter of the temple also attempted to bring the program to a school in Washington. So, I just want to inform you that this was ongoing there, and then of course the rise of Satanism is another sign of America's fall from God. Christian leaders speak out against open blasphemy and devil worship. It's war. It is war. But people aren't seeing this. I really don't understand how people are really forgetting the war, the nature of the war that's ongoing throughout the world. Things have got to change. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to request that everybody pray for China and the Chinese Christians that this decision would not go through. I would ask that you please pray for the children that attend this school, that they not be influenced by Satan. That's all I got for you. God bless and carry on.